Before we start, I'd like to call on the president of the Philippine New York JCs, President Alex Rajano, for a few words. Alex, round of applause, please.
So I was hoping we'll skip that, but I still want to put to some words. Like, I think this is really important, and one of the reasons, it happened, we chose this location, but Lower Manhattan, if something bad happens to the world or the planet, will be gone. And you know that, we had like a warning shot like 2 years ago or 3 years ago. So please, listen to the panelists, engage with that. We are an active organization, so please feel free to learn about this and learn about us. And think about what you can do. Let's say if you see something wrong in the community or something that you feel it should be done in a different way, please do something about it. You can do it, through AIESEC, to us, to other organizations, but please do something about it. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. President of the Junior Chamber of Philippine New York. So, Earth Day 2017's campaign is environmental and climate literacy. Education is the foundation for progress, as we all know, and we need to build a global citizenry fluent in concepts of climate change and be aware of its unprecedented threats to our planet. So we need to empower everyone with the knowledge to inspire action in defense of environmental protection. Before we solve the dire environmental threats facing us in the 21st century, we must build a global citizenry knowledgeable in environmental science and fluent in local and global ecological issues. So I'm going to introduce first Eric Silva, and your last name is Felsenthal. There you go. I had difficulties, tongue twister for me. But he was born and raised here in Queens, and he majors in economics in CUNY, at CUNY Baruch, where he is finishing his final year. 2 years ago, trying to follow his personal why of making the world happier, Eric joined AIESEC, the world's largest youth-run organization, as part of the outgoing global volunteer team as a member. So during his 2 years on this team, Eric has contributed to 70 volunteer experiences directly and indirectly. That's a lot. Currently, he is the president of AIESEC New York City, where he leads and manages a team of passionate young leaders who push every day to try to break the 200 barrier of lives impacted. In his free time, he enjoys reading, gaming, talking about AIESEC, and planning his next trip abroad. So, round of applause, please, for all right. And our next panelist today, Mr. Samuel Bishop, or Sam Bishop. He is from TreesNY, and he is the director of urban forestry and education. He has over 10 years of experience in urban and community forestry. He oversees all adult environmental education programs, tree planting, and green infrastructure projects. Sam is an ISA board certified master arborist and municipal specialist. So round of applause for Sam. All right, so we're going to start with the panel, and I'm going to have a series of questions that I'm going to ask the panelists here, and then after that, feel free to also ask questions yourselves. All right, so we're going to start with a few questions. So, gentlemen, you know that it's Earth Day tomorrow. It is a real holiday, but do you know that it is? Do you feel that it's written off by most people? And then the reason why I asked that is I actually did a survey in my office today. About half of the people did not know that it's Earth Day. So do you kind of feel that it's being written off? So Eric, why don't you start?
Yeah. I definitely think people don't really consider it one of the major holidays, especially there's Easter right afterwards Earth Day. I think that there's definitely this growing interest in celebrating and knowledge about the fact and what it stands for and everything. There's probably factors going into it. But
Yeah, absolutely. Sam?
To a certain degree, yes. 5-10 years ago, more so. but we've actually, at Trees New York, found that we're turning away people who want to do Earth Day events simply because we don't have the staff or the resources to schedule a lot of groups on the same day. So we've definitely felt an increasing interest in it, and I think certainly this year the Climate Science March tomorrow will be a big boost for Earth Day and the awareness of the movement, as well as hopefully the science too.
So you're experiencing, you feel like there's progress in celebrating Earth Day at the very least?
Yes.
Good. Why is environmental awareness important right now? Sam, what did you start with?
At this point, it's sort of that we're beginning to see the real on-the-ground global effects of climate change. This year, we just had the other day our first named storm in the Atlantic, read hurricane season, which is starting earlier and earlier. And of course, we had Hurricane Sandy that flooded downtown Manhattan. We've been setting records every year for global temperatures, for high temperatures in many places. So increasingly, it's now not only are we seeing the effects on the ground, but there also has to be the sense of that people need to act to ameliorate those effects and reduce some of the extreme end of where we feel climate change is going to wind up. And also, the sooner we act, the easier it's going to be to do, and the less really brutal and the things that people are afraid of, like, the government turns up at your house and turns the power off for 3 days.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much for that. And how about you, Eric? Why is environmental awareness very important right now in your opinion?
It's for me at least. It's we only have one Earth. It's kind of hard. Like, if you ruin this one, there's not like a follow-up plan. There's not anything to fall back on. You break it, you bought it, And going off of the extreme, and like as you're saying, it's I was looking at some research recently. It's like if you slow down the rate of the greenhouse gases and like the pollution and everything, if you slow it down, the Earth only it'll get worse by a little bit in terms of like global temperatures. However, if you continue on the same rate, the rate at which like the extreme ends of stuff, so droughts versus like global flooding, that will increase if we continue on the same path. Mm-hmm. So you're looking at a few like decades down the line, you're looking at like mass like flooding and droughts, and like I'm sure people could like survive, but that's not the world that like I envision when I think of like where we're going and where we should be. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So like yeah.
Definitely, it's a compound effect, right? Little here, little there, and all of a sudden it balloons up in the future. Now, what are the key challenges in New York City? And what key challenges in New York City that's facing our city right now in terms of this issue? Eric, why don't you go first?
So, coming from an AIESEC standpoint, as like a youth leadership organization, it is something that I believe in, that like the issues are around engaging the youth and like young people around New York City. Specifically, it goes down to like the why and what if it's like many young people, they don't really they'll know that there are environmental issues, that there are things that are happening on a grand scale that we need to cope with and like cut out, but they don't really understand the full implications of this and what this actually means for the future. Just that like, oh, there's global warming, and they don't really understand the graph like the depth of this. And then for those that do, it then comes down to they don't maybe there's like not a yes, there's global warming, but how can I, as a 21-year-old, actually make a difference? I'm not a policymaker. I'm not one of like those big decision makers in the U.S., in New York. I don't really know how I can make that difference, or what are the options that I can take and to contribute with coping with these issues. Whether it's working with an organization, whether it's like as simple as recycling or being green and having a green lifestyle, there's not so much a mass like understanding of how we can get through this. And what are the options open to young people and how we can get involved in this big issue, because it is a global issue and it seems very far apart from like us as like regular college kids. You know, just bridging that could be like the big issue I feel for New York City.
New York City has a number of different environmental challenges facing it coming in the future, and some of them are sort of unique to a city and a built environment, and we spent 100 years building the city one way, and really, unfortunately, that's not sustainable for the next 100. So we have to change the way we deal with and think about our infrastructure going forward. And Eric, I'm gonna disagree with you a little bit, because we've had a lot of very good results working with youth. It's often older adults who sometimes have become so entrenched in their ways. When you talk about having to make positive environmental changes, they are automatically resistant. Even before they hear what the change is or what they might have to do, and if it's really not something challenging, sometimes there's just sort of an automatic resistance or a no there. And usually the change is not as big as people perceive it to be. For example, New York City makes it really easy to recycle. And in addition to that, Department of Sanitation is rolling this out now. How many of you have or have seen brown bins on the street or in your buildings for composting? So now what the city's doing is pretty much any food scrap, including even things like pizza boxes that have pizza grease on them so they can't be recycled into paper, will be composted and turned into compost that the city uses on street trees and in parks and things like that. So it's been about, I think, 1/3 of our city's waste stream is things that could be composted. So that instead of